Hi, this is Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons No Shenanigans game. All right, so let's jump into this. So the topic here today is no shenanigans in Dungeons and Dragons 5e in your current game if you're playing for Tier 1 play. So I'm here to tell you how to play the best Dungeons and Dragons game you can possibly play so powerfully that it can improve yourself, it can improve every single person at your table personally, and it can improve literally the American nation and by extension the world. Right? I'm shooting for Dungeons and Dragons that impacts the world. Far more important than just having. I don't care about having fun at the table. Let me put it this way, okay? When you if you want to start a roaring fire, right? You clash two rocks together and sparks fly off. That's what fun is. I don't care about it. I care about a burning bonfire, right? That you can cook something on, that you can forge a sword with. I want something that is useful. And Dungeons and Dragons, that's my entire point. There's go right, go left. You'll find 100 channels that tell you D&D is nothing, and that that the point is to have fun, and who cares how you do it, blah 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 blah. Right? There's one of these. There's a West Coast grognard squawks every day about it. Right? Like it just like, I assure you, D&D is nothing, and I'm an unimportant person, and you can accomplish nothing with your game. Like it's a whole thing. So anyway, I'm here to tell you you can do great things, right? And so where this starts is the no shenanigan games. I recently had to put my foot down on my own game, right? On no shenanigans. I'm going to tell you how I did it. Okay, so we are rolling like thunder on our tabletop role playing game. We have had last year was brutal, and on this channel you will find Trouble in Paradise. It's like an entire set of videos, and I'm very transparent about how my game was going wrong. And my game broke in half, and everybody went scattered to the four winds. And then I pulled a few people back, and then the people who had not come back came back later, right? And the reality is, we are on rails, man. We're completing just story arc after story arc after story arc. Lots of great Dungeons and Dragons 5e play, some other indie games, at a rate less than 51%, and it's fully successful, right? And we're just finding higher and higher levels of success. So right now we have four engaged, dedicated Dungeon Master players. We have a player who Dungeon Masters occasionally, and we just got a request from Frederick. That's not his real name, but this player Dungeon Master moved up to New Jersey and then moved back to Pennsylvania, right? And he's a longtime friend. I've known him for 10, 15 years. And I've run in multiple Dungeons and Dragons games with him. And I've run in some of his games. I've run as a player in some of his games. And he's been in some of my games. And he was in two of my games during the pandemic situation, right? Toward the March 2020 problem. And so we were playing online, and I kicked him out of our game twice, right? He came in, he had very bad behavior at the table. I kicked him out, right? Just like, bye. And then brought him back in and had to kick him out again, right? And then I talked with this guy by phone and over text for probably a year and a half. He's a friend of mine. Well, here's what I mean by friend, right? I like you, you like me. And then friendship is a big deal for me, right? So it's like, hey, I got a problem. Get your shovel and meet me in the park at midnight, and I'll have my shovel and we'll take care of this problem, right? Like, I take friendship serious. Like, if you're gonna call me and you need help, that's what yeah, it's great playing D&D, right? But if you're in trouble, I want you to know you can call me. I'm gonna help. I'm gonna do something, right? I'm gonna take a risk to get you out of the situation you're in. And honestly, I don't expect that to be returned, right? Because friendships aren't transactional. But when I call you friend, you best believe, you're never gonna go hungry. You're never gonna be without me doing something extensive to help you, right? So and so this person was my friend. They were a terrible D&D player at the time, but they're my friend, right? So they moved up to New Jersey. They went through all this stuff, and then they came back to Pennsylvania, right? So Frederick calls me and he says, "Hey, listen, I just moved back to Pennsylvania, and I want in. I heard you got a hot game going. I want in, right?" Now, right away I was like, I don't want to do this, right? Because I had already kicked this guy out of two games, less than 2 years ago, right? And I said, but he's my friend for 10 or 15 years, and so I at least owe the conversation. So I said, hey, I'm going to call you back later today, and I'm going to explain to you what we're doing, and I'm going to walk you through a funnel of questions, right? So I did. So I got him on the phone, and I said, all right, listen up. We're going to go through, like, if you say no to any of these, you're out, right? Like, we've been friends long enough but if you say yes to these, then I'm going to talk to our entire crew, and we need a unanimous decision to bring you in, right? So I talked to him. So here's the funnel of questions. I said, first of all, the game is at Sunday, 6 to 10 p.m. You are going to show up and show out every Sunday. If something comes up, no problem. If it happens once a month, once every 2 months, life happens, no problem. You text me beforehand and you say I can't make it, right? No problem. You don't have to have 100% attendance, but you have to have you have to have 80, 90% attendance, okay? I want you there at the game, and when you come prepared, you come ready, you are focused. I don't want to hear any excuses, right? Like, so I was like, it's 6 to 10 p.m. Sundays. Can you make it? He's like, yes. Next, can you get to the game on your own? This should not have to be a question, but increasingly, for a whole bunch of world reasons, not everybody can get to the game on their own, independently, right? So I'm like, can you physically get to my home and then get back to yours, right? And the reason why is I don't want to extend my game time by having to pick people up or take them home or whatever, right? Because I'm a busy person, So, and the other thing is, I was harsh with these questions because we do not need players, right? This request was literally for the last seat at the table. When this is done, we will literally have 6 people at the table, right? And like, this is my grandma's table that, my grandmother's table that she gave to us 70 years ago. This is literally the last seat at the table, right? So he's like, yes, I can make it, all right? And then I said, okay, and here's the point of this video. And then I said, no shenanigans, right? And I said this to him because I knew he would know what this meant. So one of the things we would do is, over the 2 years where we were not playing Dungeons & Dragons together, and it's a lot easier to be friends with this guy when I wasn't playing Dungeons & Dragons, is I would listen to his game, and he'd be like, oh, I did this crazy stuff in my game that I'm playing in, and then I did this crazy stuff in my game that I'm DMing, and I was like, why did you do either one of those things? And it was always the same answer. He was like, shenanigans, just crazy fun, making it fun for myself, and, just I like to see the reactions of other players, and blah, just like whatever, like, it's all crazy chaos. And I was like, hey, you coming in this game, and I just said 2 words. I was like, no shenanigans. This is a serious game. I did say more after that. I was like, this is a serious game, right? You are coming in as a Dungeon Master player. Each month, you will say, hey, I'm running this. You will ask no one about what you're running. There will be no session 0. Every Dungeon Master as a player will show up and show out as a player for your game, and there is a social contract that they will behave and be the best player they can. And then when it's their turn, you're going to shut your mouth about whatever you think about their setting or whatever, and you're going to fully engage, right? And I didn't say shut their mouth to him. I was like, you're going to get in, right? You're going to get in there, and you are going to do the best job you can to be the best player is. And then at the end, I did repeat. I was like, no shenanigans. I don't want your crazy chaos. We are bringing you in, right? Because we believe, because you are my friend, and I'm giving you a chance, right? But the reality is, we got this thing on rails. Everybody at the table is very serious about Dungeons & Dragons, right? Is a serious lover of Dungeons & Dragons, and is there to play Dungeons & Dragons. And if fun happens, so be it. But we are doing special things. We are fellowshipping together, right, as fellows, right? And we are running narrative experiments and asking philosophical questions at the table, and we don't want a fart joke. Like, no shenanigans. All your old nonsense is out. Done, right? And I finally shut my mouth. And he's like, yeah, I can do it. He goes, and then he actually said, listen, I know I'm going to Dungeon Master. I would like to see a full arc of the other Dungeon Masters go, and then I'll Dungeon Master at the end. And my only hope is that they just know, like, one thing I've had trouble with in the past is just having my players, choose a direction, right? And I'm like, well, here's the expectation. I'm expecting, if you're going to run a 2-hour game, I'm expecting you to take at least 60 minutes, right? And you may take up to 5 hours to prep for that 2-hour game, right? But you're going to come, you're going to have your books, you are going to be ready, and you are going to show up and show out. And there is not going to be any nonsense of you showing up and saying, oh, I didn't have time to prep today, guys, so I'm running encounters. Get out, right? Like, you know, like, and the reality, like, I just made it clear, we do not need you, right? So this is a no shenanigans game, right? And I said, hey, to be clear, fun happens at our game all the time, but it's a spark that flies off the rock. It is not the goal, right? And I said this to Frederick, and I'm saying this to you. The shenanigan days are done, right? If you are playing Dungeons and Dragons for fun, shove over. Don't spend another minute on this channel, right? If you think Dungeons and Dragons is for fun, there's no place for you here, right? This is a place where we build better. We take Dungeons and Dragons farther, and Dungeons and Dragons takes us farther, right? I'm excited that this player heard that the game was going so well and wanted to play. And I tried as respectfully as I could to just be like, hey, this is a serious game and you're going to take it serious, right? And the reality is, I did not at any point say, I'm going to kick you out if you don't. I said I didn't have to. I've already kicked them out of 2 games, right? The last thing I want to say is, I really believe we should be getting the best players and the best dungeon masters we can at our table, and we should let our friends go kick rocks, right? I really feel like the Dallas Cowboys do not like, hey, you got a buddy who can come in and play left tackle? They don't care about friendships, right? They play the best game they can. I truly believe this, but I am not living up to that value. My heart is just too soft. And if somebody I've known for 15 years comes back and says, hey, I want another chance, I'm going to give it to them, right? And I did want, I've really put down on this channel that we should be getting the best players and the best dungeon masters. I'm failing to do that. My friends are my friends, and I still am just playing games with my friends. I really wish there was kind of I am foregoing more bold recruitment, and I wanted to be honest and transparent about that. All that's my opinion on it. No shenanigans. That should be your goal. No shenanigans. Fun should be a spark that accidentally happens while you're trying to start the fire. It is never the point. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.